The year was 1976, and Ronald Reagan had just lost a hard-fought battle for the nomination that had reached the convention floor. This is Steve Elliott. For Reagan's team, it was a devastating defeat, made even more bitter by the fact that this was likely Reagan's last run for office. After all, by 1980, Reagan would be the oldest man ever to run and win the White House. The next day, as Gerald Ford took the stage to accept the nomination, he unexpectedly called for Reagan to join him. Chants of speech built to a roar with each step he and Nancy took. Nancy later recalled Reagan saying to her, quote, "I haven't the foggiest idea what I'm going to say." The Gipper, having just been thrown into political exile by his own party, proceeded to deliver a stirring and impromptu speech that left many in the arena saying, "We nominated the wrong guy." As close advisor Martin Anderson recalled, Reagan, quote, "never gave up. It was this incredible crushing defeat, and it didn't crush him. He just came back up, shook his head, and said, 'What's next?'" The Gipper spent the next 3 years primarily at his ranch in California, researching and writing radio commentaries that were broadcast across the country. For years, it was assumed that Reagan simply was the voice for those commentaries. But now we know that Reagan personally penned over 90% of the radio content broadcast following his 1976 political exile. Ronald Reagan understood the core principles of thriving in exile, to build and to plant. During this late-in-life political exile, Reagan carefully honed the principles and policies upon which the 1980 revolution was built. There's much more to Reagan's story in the pages of Thriving in Exile. If you haven't done so already, please request your 2 copies, because the same challenge and the same opportunity stands before us today. In the face of our current political exile, and the shrinking economy, and the rising tide of statism, and even some of our so-called friends blaming all of these problems on us, we can rise and meet the challenge and build a better future for our nation and our families. Thanks for all you are doing, and together, let's build. I'm Steve Elliott.